you're creating something out of nothing. When you put something out into the universe, when you share like your truth. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Orphic. My name is Alyssa. I'm an astrophysicist. I have my PhD. I specialize in supermassive black holes and how galaxies evolve across the universe and how the star formation in galaxies co-evolves with the supermassive black hole activity. So that is what my thesis kind of specialized on. And now, post-PhD, what I'm focused on is I want to understand how the universe works from a holistic, conscious perspective. I believe the universe is alive. There's consciousness in the earth, in the sun, and not just in us. And I think it's inherently connected. So I'm very interested in quantum physics and how consciousness really interacts with with all the universe. And what I want to do is combine this spiritual information with all that I've learned of my years in academia and everything. So that's a bit what I'm about. My Instagram is at interdimensional.astrophysics. So definitely go give me a follow over there if this sounds interesting to you.
Hey, and I'm Mikayla, the co-host of the Orphic. On Instagram at Mariposa Moonchild, and I'm an empathic medium and intuitive energy healer. I feel like my purpose in this world, as well as here on the podcast, is to activate my own inner healing as well as others' inner healing, and to activate the wave of quantum healing across the planet. As we heal ourselves, we heal others, we heal the earth. And I truly believe we are moving into a new time of love frequency. And in order to embody that and hold that, sometimes there's a little bit of healing that needs to be done in our body and in our DNA. And I'm here to support and guide into this next, I guess, evolution of Earth, into this love frequency.
Yeah. I kept on getting chills when you said love frequency. I think it's such a good transition into just at least talking a little bit about what this podcast is about. If you're just tuning in for the first time, thank you very much for being here. Mikayla and I have never met in person. We met online a few years ago, and we've been besties ever since, just trying to understand things together, talking all the time. And I feel like what this podcast is about is us just through our own experiences and through what we're passionate about and what we're interested in, really just having a container for us to share our ideas and share our experiences with the hopes of connecting with other people on a human level so that others can, relate to what we've been through, but also bringing us into this shift. We have a few episodes on the ascension and what is going on with the planet right now, and there is this big shift that the planet is undergoing. You're not crazy for being like, why is everything different? Everyone's lost their mind in the last few years to some extent. It's a rite of passage. And yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say in terms of like, this podcast is for us to have a container to share these things, but also constantly gather new people and bring new people along for this crazy fucking ride, because it's a lot.
As well as support. As well as be a safe space and support people that feel like they're coming into awakening or coming into these realizations or want to dig deeper into their own healing or learning of self or connecting to inner wisdom or connecting to self or connecting to guides or whatever. The list goes on. Like, if you feel like you have an interest in that. And also sometimes what comes along with having an interest in that is we feel like now we're a little bit of the black sheep out of our family, out of our friend group. That can feel really lonely and a little confusing. And I personally just want to be here to hold space and build a community for if you're feeling that way, or for the people that do feel that way, the souls that do feel that way, the empaths, the star seeds, the indigo children, the rainbow children. I want to hold space for you to be here. So if you resonate with that, firstly, sending you a lot of love and thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, it's definitely a container to hold space. And whether you are new to some spiritual awakening or you have been on this path for a while, I think it doesn't matter, because I've just met so many cool new people over the last year or so that are on this path and everything. And just, I feel like everyone that really resonates with this information and these things just have this inherent love frequency to them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like I said, I believe that we're moving into a frequency of that. I mean, there's a lot for years, for centuries, hundreds of thousands, whatever. There's been a lot of suffering, a lot of strife, a lot of pain, just like a lot of like really heavy things on the planet. And the planet is beginning to shift. We're beginning to move out of that as humans begin to hold more of that love frequency. However, there is a little bit of a crumbling that's happening right now, as well as if you feel that in your own life, when you know that you gotta, to make way for new things, that you gotta move some things out. So Mother Gaia, Earth, she's moving some things out, and we're going through some new rebuilding of structures and systems, and we're seeing that in real time right now. So yeah, it can be a little bit of a crazy time, but here to talk about holding the love frequency, as I feel like that is the end point. And as we're able to do that and connect with each other in that love frequency, we're able to continue encouraging others to do the same, as well as hold that frequency for Mother Gaia as she shifts.
Yeah, I love that stuff about the love frequency. It's just something about that resonates with me so much, the love frequency. So that's what the podcast is about. Thank you for being here. Today's episode, well, first, we always like to start, when we remember to we like to start the episodes with grounding in and kind of just doing some breathing together, just so that you can be fully present for whatever you're about to listen to. And
I'll do a little grounded and tune in. First of all, I wanted to say to that love frequency, I recently heard a quote from like someone that I really look up to, but they were talking about somebody else. And I think this is really important for listeners too. And this is also like when you're listening to us or any other podcasts or YouTubes or whoever you're listening to, you always get to be your inner guide. So always take what resonates and leave what doesn't, and feel into what feels truthful and right to you. But the quote was, I don't know the truth, but I know what love feels like, and I choose to follow that.
Ooh.
And I thought that was really powerful, because it is true. Like, as much as we say my inner truth, or we believe this is the truth, or these are the universal truths, or whatever, I don't know, for a lot of things, I don't know if we'll ever really know. But I do know what love frequency feels like, and I choose to follow that. Yeah.
And I totally agree. I think it's good to mention that it's more about just coming back to, anything that all that we ever have to refer to is how something makes us feel. And I've kind of heard some other spiritual teachers talk about this concept too, of like, if you're going to be tuning into anything or whatever, just pay attention to how something makes you feel. And I think that we should just be following what makes us feel like unconditional love. That's the way that I try to live by. And yeah, it just goes along with taking what resonates and everything. And I agree. I don't know if we're ever going to know the truth of anything in this lifetime. I don't even know if I think some absolute truths maybe exist, but I don't know how much absolute truth exists. So I think it's all about just navigating it.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe the love frequency will guide you to the absolute truths, but I think that's kind of part of the quote as well, right? Or even when deciding for yourself what feels like truth, like following the love frequency.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's ground in.
Oh, yeah. All right. If you're able to, please close your eyes. Place your feet flat on the floor. I'm going to light some Palo Santo here. I guess I should show it in the video. Just for cleansing and clearing. All right. So we're going to take a couple deep cleansing breaths. So fill your lungs all the way to the top. Pause. Open your mouth and release. Let's do another one just like that. Fill your lungs all the way to the top. Pause. Open your mouth and release. Letting go of anything negative, anything heavy, anything that may be weighing you down, letting it go with the breath. Taking another deep breath in. Pause. Open your mouth and release. Letting go of anything and everything that's not serving you. Anything from your day that you don't want to hold anymore. Anything that feels heavy, and letting it go with the breath. One more big breath in. Breathing beautiful white light in through your body, into your heart space. And with the exhale, releasing everything and anything that is not serving you and letting it go. And when you're ready, gently bring yourself back into this space.
Good. I'm cleared.
Yeah.
So today is going to be a little bit of a mishmash of fun things and downloads, not necessarily a set topic, but who knows? Who knows what the universe will want it to evolve into, but at least there's some things that I've jotted down that are recent downloads that have kind of come to me, and I think we're going to unpack a little bit here, some things that I want to say. We'll see what comes out. It's kind of just how everything works in life, right? We'll see what happens. So what's up?
That was
You weren't on the last episode. Sorry. The last episode before this was me and my brother-in-law talking about the universe and Mayan calendar and cool stuff like that. But yeah, we haven't had a little catch up on here in a while, I feel like. So how is your energy doing this spring? How's your spring working out for you so far?
Yeah. Feels very much like death and rebirth, like spring does.
Totally. It's like spring is like springing harder than it's sprung before right now.
Yeah.
In terms of the
the
discomfort, the like, I'm sprouting.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it's like growing pains.
Yes, so much.
It's like being squished through a small hole, being squeezed out, and being like...
It's like every day is so different, and every day is just moving so fast.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
Today I definitely feel better. I mean, the sun was also shining here too, and like
that'll do it.
Yeah, it's crazy how the sun like affects us, or just like will affect you. Like this morning it was shining when I woke up, and I feel like just from that moment I was like, today's gonna be a good day, because like the last little bit it had been so cold here and like gloomy. Yeah. And like I don't mind like rainy day, like it rained a bit yesterday, so I didn't mind that. I prefer it to be like foggy and actually like dripping in rain and be cozy than just like dark clouds and gloomy. And I feel like for most of yesterday and the day before and the day before that and the day before that, it was just like this really dark, gloomy grossness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that affects your mood. It really does.
Yeah. It really does affect your mood. And on Saturday, I went to a bridal expo with a friend. And it was just gloomy and gross out. So that kind of killed my vibe. And then the expo was at a church. So like no mimosas,
Wait, you didn't tell me
I
much
guess.
about this.
What?
Oh, you didn't tell me much about how the bridal expo went yet.
It was okay. It was okay. I don't know how many more bridal expos I'll go to in my time. And the last time I went, my mom was out here and she wanted to go. And that one was like, in my opinion, that was probably like, it was like for the whole Okanagan. So it was like a way bigger area. And it was in like one of the fanciest like hotels in the city.
Is
like
the Okanagan a county?
I don't know. It's like the Okanagan like
mean?
Valley.
Oh, it's like like a region.
Yeah, like a region for sure. And it's like, and then like the lake we live on is the Okanagan Lake, and it's very long. Like there's like 3 separate cities, like actual cities, not towns, that are like positioned along it. They're like one's at the very end, and then Kelowna, the big cities in the middle, and then Vernon, where I live, is close to the end. Yeah, it's just like a valley where there's like lots of it's a little valley in the mountains and the lake, and there's lots of little farmers and like orchards and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a region though.
Okay. So this expo wasn't as like party mimosa as the other one?
No, the other one was like a lot bigger, a lot more vendors, and it was still like, because like the first one, this is how this one was too. You had to like, you get there and they're like, okay, this is your passport. And they're like, you need to get a stamp at every single vendor to be like put into this like big draw. And like when I went with my mom, I was like not expecting that. Like I did not set myself up to be like super social. I don't know why. Like I really like sometimes I love connecting with people and meeting new people. And like, if they're cool, if I can feel that their energy is cool, but I am a natural kind of like introvert, or at least I'm the type of person who charges while being alone. Like I don't charge by hanging out with other people, although I still like connecting. So I need to know if I'm going to be social or not. Like I need to mentally prepare myself for it. So when I got there and it was like, oh shit. And there's like hundreds of these little booths and vendors, and you have to go to every single one of them. And like, I'm also the type of person where I'm like, I don't want to be rude and just walk up and be like, hey, can you sign this thing? But at the same time, I'm not interested in all of these. Like, for example, there was one booth that was like kilts. And it's just like...
Again, at this one?
Oh, there's a bagpiper at this one.
We talked, because the first one was kilts. We unpacked the bridal expo on some previous episode.
Oh, did we?
Talked about the kilts.
I didn't even remember. Okay, so yeah, anyways. So this one was like... I thought a worse, less organized version of that. I mean, it wasn't like, I'm still happy I went because it was fun to go with my friend and do just like a little bridal date and like actually like not wear sweatpants because usually I'm at home. So like I'm not getting like, so it was like nice to like hang out with her and chit chat and like just kind of like do some of the bridal stuff. But by the end, I was definitely like a little bit like powered down. And then, there was like a bagpiper. And it's like so hard because like he's this cute old man who's very passionate about bagpiping. So
good for him.
So he's just like, hey, like, have you ever thought about having like bagpipes at your like wedding? He's like, it's really good for
my heart.
He's like, it's really good for any event. Like, it's really nice and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I'm just like, you're cute. Like,
oh my God. You see, like, this is where my empathy gets a little unhealthy sometimes. I don't know. It's just saying that, it just reminded me of all the other like,
it's the people pleasing, right?
The people pleasing, but also just like extreme empathy. Like, okay, if for example, if that were me, the entire rest of the day, I would have been sad that bagpiper guy would have probably had nobody to hire him for the wedding. And I probably would have just hired him for my wedding because I would have felt so bad. No, okay. I don't know if I would have gone that far, but it just reminds me of all these other times where like sometimes I'll see someone that I think is sad and I just like, I can't let it go. Like the whole day I will be like sad for them. So I would have gotten like sad for him. Sorry, this just turned sad. But it just, I don't know. I feel like it's also relevant because it's very much an empath thing. It's for probably anyone listening to this relates to that a lot, and I always talk about this with my sister. Like, we're just always like, I just can't get past it. I'll get like too sad for him, but you know, he's living his best life with his bagpipes.
He really
but
is.
I'm more so,
and you know what,
the topic
I
of
do think people hire
hired.
him, but it's not going to be me. Like, because some people do the kilt things. Like, I've seen pictures of people in kilts. Like, some people are very like Scottish, and they do the thing. And like, also like, the wedding industry like is massive. So like, there's people out there who want it, but then and then I'm like, he's an old man he's passionate about. But then there was like a fashion show, and he like played the bagpipes to start the fashion show. Because when I first talked to him, I know I had like this also like empathic moment where I'm just like, he's just like, you know, it can be really nice. And I think I had this split second of, you know what, maybe it could be nice. and then like, in some world, maybe it could be nice. And then like, I actually like heard it, and I was like, oh my God, no. Like, because he did the whole like walking thing like down the aisle, and like, and I was just,
so that would be for when he plays the bagpipe at weddings, it's for walking down the aisle, or
yeah,
I guess that would be it, right? Okay, yeah,
probably.
Okay,
I would never.
I'm happier that like he probably gets some customers and stuff. Like, that makes you feel better.
So there's some booths like that. And then there's also like, it was also in a church, so like there's no mimosas, like, which I was kind of like looking forward to. Like, I'm gonna be honest,
of course,
like, especially doing like our little bridal thing. And then I don't know, and there was like a lot of booths that I was just like, why? Like, this is not bridal at all. Like, why are you here? And it's just like, and then you're like kind of forced to like, this one, I was a lot more like, sometimes I would just like put my thing out. I'm like, hi, can you please sign this?
Yeah, and other people have to do that too.
But there was like a realtor lady there. Like, she was just like real estate, and she's like, are you in the market for buying or selling a home? And I'm like, no.
Because that would be their demo. People that are getting married are going to buy a home.
And then she's like, oh, okay, well, and then, so everyone you go to too, most of them have a draw. So you have to like sit down and write out your name, your phone number, your email address. And that really hurts your hand after a while. I seen somebody with a stamp before, and I'm like, oh, that's like the way to do it. It's just like a stamp and like go. But this lady was like, oh, like, put your name in, like, the real estate girl, for like $1,500 cash. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like, I'll put my name in. And then later I find out it's only $1,500 to go towards a home if you buy a home. And I'm like, why are you here? This is a bridal expo. And she chirped me for getting married in 2024. She's like, oh my God, so long. She's like, you're just prolonging your stress, honey. And I was like, oh, like, no, I'm actually fine with like having it this long. Rude. She's like, I got married in like 3 months. And I'm like, that sounds fucking terrible.
That does sound terrible.
But whatever.
That's weird.
So I was, maybe that just threw me off too. So like, I'm happy we went, but I will say, I think I'm a little bridal expo'd out. Yeah. And the fashion
sounds like enough passports.
Yeah, it's enough. It's a lot. And you go around to everyone, and they're just like, oh, like, here's my little gift baskets with all my things. And I like look in the gift basket, it's like $400, and I'm like, wow, that's really lovely. And then I'm just like, it's okay, Mikayla, abundance, whatever. Abundance. This is just like, moving from my 3D reality day into the other things. Yeah. And then like, so then of course you always look forward to like the fashion show. Like, the other one was not bad. In my opinion, this one was not good. Like, I don't think I seen anything that I would remotely even put close to me. And that's okay. That's just my opinion.
Put close to me. Or
on my body. Really, and there was a lot of like prom dresses that I wasn't expecting. I was just like, oh, like, I thought this was a bridal expo. There's like a lot of like just like random dresses, and like they started bringing out like black dresses, and I swear to God, these black dresses were from like 2007. So I was just like, you know, the one like the mermaid, it's like ruche, it's like really tight, and then at the bottom it's just like, it's just got those like frilly things. And it felt, when I was looking at it, I couldn't help not to think toilet bowl brush.
Interesting.
Like, you know what I mean?
Wait, for For the frilly rouging on the bottom,
No,
or
because
for the rouging, the rouging.
No, the rouging just goes the ruching just goes like across the middle, but it's like it's super tight, like it's like that mermaid, so it's like super tight at the bottom, and then the bottom just is like goes whoof, and it's like frilly.
Oh,
So like the shape of it.
Okay, I see.
And very like it had to have been like 2009 or like even earlier than that, I think. Which is okay for whoever it's meant for, just not for me.
Mm-hmm. Right. Not toilet bowl, brush, none of that for you for right now. So but you're getting excited though about the planning stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it comes and goes. I feel like will do planning, and then I'll stop doing planning, and then I'll go back and do planning, and yeah. So I'm excited though. We have a venue locked down now.
And a date.
We have a date, yes. We haven't confirmed yet with the photographer, but I think we have a photographer like picked out just from our back and forth. As well as I have catering, and I got some chair rentals. Actually, I think I need to send the deposit on that still. And a bus, and
great. Love a bus.
Yeah.
And the venue is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to meet Mikayla for the first time at her wedding.
It better be before that.
It better be before that. Abundance.
Yeah, and we still got to find our ceremony space, but that'll come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been I feel like it's been a very big lesson, just like anything that appears in our lives is in front of us for a reason. You know, there's a lot of big abundance and trust lessons that have been coming up with this wedding process for you.
A lot of trust.
Yeah.
And not just with the wedding process, but just life in general. Yesterday I had this epiphany of why are you worried? And that just seems so simple, but as humans, we worry so much, and I do too. It's just I'm worried about this and this, and then I'm just in my head, I had this, it was for the wedding and just for other things in my life. I'm all of that's out of your control. Why are you worrying? The outcome will be what it is, and that is that. Why are you worrying?
Yep.
I don't know. And it just seems so simple, but yeah, I just kind of had that epiphany where I'm I really don't need to worry. And I also had this kind of epiphany or download that went along with it, because even in the quantum healing episode, we were talking about programming your thoughts and your beliefs, but I'm realizing that you can program everything exactly how you like. It doesn't all have to be changing it to a positive belief, because even with I can tell myself with the worrying, you don't need to worry, you know what I mean? And programming worry that way, you don't need this, you don't need it.
Yo, that's a really good point. I thought you were gonna say, I mean, it's kind of a similar thing. I thought you were going to, it's you don't need to take every thought and make it be radically positive. Worries are never, I don't know.
Because you can program the things that aren't serving you either, and then reprogram the thought of how you feel about it. Instead of choosing to hold on to the worry, programming when it comes up, oh, I don't need this, and then letting it go.
Yes. Yeah, it's just a matter of redirection. If there's something that isn't serving you, then the reprogramming is purely a matter of redirecting the thought to somewhere else to just get it not in your way. And yeah, it's not even just now I need to completely flip this, because if you think about it, even physics wise and energetic wise, yes, it takes a lot of energy to completely flip a thought, and maybe it takes a little bit less energy to kind of just divert it to another direction.
Yeah, or just program it how you would like it, because I think I thought maybe before that
what you said.
And this is a lot of learning for me too. Maybe if you say don't on something, then you're putting a negative connotation on it, but it's not really that. It's you're choosing your beliefs, or you're choosing how you want things to show up for you internally. So if I'm saying I don't need worry, then feeling that in the body, and then not holding on to the worry or letting it, like stay there in the body, like telling my body or having the belief in my body that I don't need this. This isn't serving me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like that. Like, I like what you said about kind of making it specific to worry, because this is the thing. I feel like, at least the way that I experience a lot of these attempted reframes are, we almost like it. Sometimes it's hard to actually put it into practice because maybe the realization feels general or not tangible, and then you're like just off to your regular thought streams after that. But if we do something where we really choose like a specific word, or you just get specific with it, like worry, like, oh, anytime I feel worried, and then you kind of just have your energy on that for a bit, and you just work on reframing that worry, like, oh, worry, I don't need to worry, like you just made it very specific to that word. I feel like that's another way to kind of redirect your mind and things like that.
Well, I think I just had also this like realization too. I really like Blue, if anyone's ever listened to her. She has a podcast. She's like a medicine woman and a shaman. And she had this guy on her podcast, and then I was following him. I forget his name. Sorry, buddy. And he had a picture, and it was something about worry, and just like stress in life, and he had a picture of him almost 10 years later, like he's like 43 now, and he had a picture of him when he was like 35, and just like how different his face looked, just like youthful and glowing.
Oh yeah.
And it was just, pardon?
Mm-hmm. No, I remember seeing that. I
think I sent it to you. Yeah. And he was just like, wow, like look at what happens in your life or even to your body when you like let go of these things. And like a lot of it was like worry, like letting go of stress and worry. And I think he had talked to like his like really old neighbor that was like 100 and something, and she was still like up and moving around, and he was just like how are you like that? And she's like, well, like you don't age as fast, or it's like basically like it's stress and worry that ages a person. Like it's stress that ages someone. So when you're able to let go of that, I don't know, how are you? What's up with you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling that the spring crunch, the spring like squeezing you to growth.
It's like a discomfort for sure. It's like squeezing you towards it. And like that's I guess the other thing with the worry and the stress or whatever, like probably the more you resist it, the more painful it's gonna be. Like
yeah, it's what I'm learning. I'm definitely feeling this rapid growth right now, but I'm kind of just, I'm riding the wave. I'm trying not to overthink it. That's been a really big theme for me just in these last few weeks. I feel like a lot has expedited in terms of, just like showing up, or with the things that I'm showing up with. I feel like I've been stepping more into my purpose and more into the kinds of things that I feel like I want to share. And it's terrifying. Yeah. It's still terrifying. And like I was just saying to you this morning when we were talking, I feel like my brain can't catch up with how much things have really taken leaps for me, like since my PhD. So I finished my PhD in December of 2022. And then we had recorded some of the episodes of the podcast already while I was finishing up, but we launched the podcast in January 2023. And so it was like, I'm just coming off of this, not even just coming off, but I'm in the midst of a major timeline shift, like I just ended one huge chapter of my life going into another one. And things like that always bring change. And it's like, before that, it had been 7 years that I was in the same place, and I was kind of in one approximate timeline for a while. But of course, before that, you have these other big shifts to college and all these other things. But, when you go through one of, it's so easy, obviously, to identify in your life when you're like, oh, wow, like I'm in the midst of a really big timeline shift. And that's where I'm at right now. And just a lot has, since finishing and everything, the amount that I'm sharing, the amount that I am speaking my truth, the amount that I'm showing up and I'm saying these things that are controversial, that feel scary to say or feel different because they are different. But what I am feeling in the last few days is I know I have a very strong vision. I'm holding a certain vision of my future that I just know from claircognizance of just pure knowing that that's where I'm going. You know, I have a clear understanding of where I'm going, even if I don't know fully what it looks like. It's kind of just this figment thing that I'm like, I know where I'm going. I know what I got to do to get there. And somehow I am receiving the strength and the ability to do it. But it's definitely a major timeline shift. But it's like this strong showing up, and that is what's making me feel like this energy. Like every new step I take, I'm just like at this new higher height, and I kind of feel more alone in it. And obviously we're going, it's that's the thing. It's like every new thing I post on Instagram, I'm like, what the frick are my high school friends thinking what I'm saying? I'm like, but I am realizing like I can't cater my posts on Instagram to whatever my high school friends are going to think that aren't on this path, or that just don't understand, or that don't care about this stuff. It's like, you can't cater to that. I have this strong knowing that I have a mission, I have something to do, I have things to share. And now that I'm starting to gain more of an audience of people that are interested in what I'm sharing, I feel like I'm learning that there is a value in what I share, even though I have known that. But it's now it's entering a whole new phase where you're using your voice. And it's actually kind of what was part of one of the things that I wanted to talk about, though. Like I had just made a video that was titled Our Body is a Map of the Universe, and it was this download that I got, and it felt so specific, and it felt like it came in like a little package. And I feel like, and I got like Our Body is a Map of the Universe, and I was like, whoa. And it felt like it came in like a little package, and it was like, open this later, beep. And so I feel like I haven't even fully opened it because I feel like there's a lot more in there. But what I've been pushing myself, and what I feel like is a message that is for everyone, is really just not hesitating to share something, not hesitating to express, like things. So it's like now I've opened the floodgates of my throat chakra, right? With having a quote unquote platform, however small or big it is right now, a container. That's what this podcast is. And then like Instagram, making videos and stuff. It's like I've opened this one floodgate in a good way. I don't know. Does that term supposed to have a negative?
I don't really know.
I opened this floodgate of my throat chakra to be open and to start sharing things. And now it's become a little bit easier for me to share things. It's still not super easy, and I feel like once you start sharing things, then more things come through that want to then be expressed. And what I'm working on is not hesitating in expressing that. And, I had that thought, our body's a map of the universe, and I've had these other intuitions to make these other videos. I have one about the earth chakras. And then once I put it out, other people resonate with it so much. And just knowing the value of my unique voice, and everyone has value in their unique perspective and their unique frequency, and just seeing other people find value in the things that I had to say was like, you know what, like, why am I going to hesitate to put something else out there, even if this idea is not fully formed, if I'm getting the nudge to share something about it, like, and also knowing that someone else will find value in it in some way. It's like, what am I waiting for? That has been this really strong theme for me in the past few days. It's been a very strong message. Like, there's no, like, we're done hesitating to like to share a message. And I think it's, and then it just makes me think kind of into, two other terms. Like, one would be open heart living. And we've talked about this a few other times. Like, yeah, so it was like once I started sharing that, like, yeah, so I just made a video yesterday at the time that we're recording this. I just made a video yesterday, and I was like, wow, that feels so good to have gotten that
Well,
out.
my
You know,
friend,
I feel like I
sorry,
cleared
I just want to say,
something.
my friend
Oh yeah.
the other day with the energy, she said an energy of I'm done sacrificing myself for others. And I felt that, and
Yeah.
that's really powerful.
No.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
that goes along with what you're saying, because if that's the thing, if you're not sharing your true authentic self, you are sacrificing. If you're not sharing your true authentic self because of the expectations or judgments of others, you are sacrificing a piece of yourself. And that one hit hard and really hit home. And I even need to feel into places in my life where I'm like, you know, doing that. And yeah, it does come
Mm-hmm.
even with being seen, right? And there's definitely
Mm-hmm.
for you, for us sharing our podcast, as well as you creating like the videos and stuff, like you said, you're moving through not hesitating, like not letting that fear of being seen hold you back, or hold your voice back, or hold back what you need to say or what's moving through you.
Yeah, and I think it's just so true that once you start a little bit, it does become easier, because it becomes easier for a few reasons. Like, one, you see that others find value in what you have to say, that like, and yeah, so I feel like it's a frequency thing. Like, if you feel like you have a thought or an idea or something to share, like, you putting that unique frequency out into the world makes the world a better place, because it didn't have that frequency before. And it's kind of just, I think I've had a lot of these thoughts that just like kind of today, really, that there's a place for every single unique perspective and voice and frequency. And it's like, we need to share these things, because you never know who's gonna be able to find value for it on the other side. And it's also like an energy flow thing, and that's also what I'm kind of realizing, because of how I just made a video, and then all of a sudden I'm getting more and more thoughts, and it's like I kind of up leveled this. I kind of like took this little step.
Well, it's like it's bringing you into alignment, which is bringing you into flow, right? So
ooh, yeah, right, exactly. It's this flow state, because then I was like, oh, I had this other idea. Like, I want to share that I should make this small video on the fact that everyone's frequency is important, and you need to like keep your energy flowing. And then it's like, wow, I like, you know, it felt like before that, like when I made that video, I like unclogged my energy, because obviously everything is moving, and open heart living is like the energy in your body flows from back to front. I mean, it flows like around us, but in terms of like what we interact with, the feelings that like move through us, it flows like back to front. So like through our heart chakra in a way. So if you are holding something in, if you have all these ideas and you're not doing anything with them when you feel divinely guided to, then you are building you are bucking your current of your energy and your ideas. And
it's stuck energy, it's stagnicity in the body. And that's just, that's exactly where that happens, where things get trapped and bogged down and the flow's not happening. And then with what you're doing, speaking to your truth, speaking to your authentic self, you're aligning yourself to your purpose and your mission, which is just naturally going to bring you into flow state, because you're aligning your internal world, and then your outer world will shift.
Yeah, and it's like so it's just now that I feel like, oh, I got out, and I got out this idea then. And the other thing is, these things wouldn't come to you divinely orchestrated, and they wouldn't feel so divine unless they were meant to be shared in some capacity, you know, where are these vessels. So it was like I got this delivery from the universe, and then I did my service by sharing that opinion and by sharing that perspective, so that other people so that I can then help other people form some perspective. It's like you're creating a beam of light that didn't exist before, and it doesn't even matter if someone is meant to see that beam of light from the exact same perspective within that beam as you are, but it's like you're creating something out of nothing. When you put something out into the universe, when you share like your truth and you speak from your throat chakra, you're creating something out of nothing. So I'm seeing it as like you're creating this beam of light that where there was empty space, and what you're doing is you're giving people an opportunity to observe it and then create some other perspective around that. And it's like it's actually has nothing to do with letting other people with having other people see exactly what you're saying. It almost has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with letting other people create new perspectives around this new thing that you just put into existence that didn't exist before. That was just
I love that.
channeled. Just came in hot. But yeah, it feels right. It's just a lot. I've been thinking a lot about this stuff with like every frequency has a purpose, and everyone should really feel like lean into sharing if that's what they're called to do on their space or whatever, in whatever way.
Well, because I mean, it's more than sharing. It's well, it is sharing, but in your own form. Like once you connect to yourself, connect to your inner wisdom, you ask yourself your guidance, your intuition, like where am I meant to go? And a lot of us know this, like we have a deep pull into the things that we're interested in, but they could be on, like some people, it is like a platform of sharing their divine knowledge or downloads or what come through other people. It can be, energy healing, or they can be called to open up a dance studio or to go or to share what they know through cooking or nutrition, or like, there's so many different things and modalities out there that can be somebody's purpose or mission. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's not just sharing something in some public way. It's using it in your life. And I just feel like we probably know where we're getting something and we're not moving with it. We're not acting on it. And I'm just witnessing a lot how quickly when you act on something like that, it brings you into this flow state. How quickly when you act on something, the next thing comes.
You're definitely you're giving me some inspiration, or making me feel inspired to act a little more.
Yeah, right. And that's what I'm working on. And I think it's going well so far, and just kind of trusting, I'm fully floating right now. But I feel like it's like at the end of the day, literally, not even just figuratively, like literally at the end of the day yesterday, I'm like, I have nothing, I can't be worried about what my position or like if I'm in the right place or whatever, or if anything's working out, because I know that today I pushed myself to do something that felt aligned, and I know that I took inspired action, and it wasn't about that video being perfect. It was about the fact that I like trusted that the universe gave me something that it wanted me to take action on, and I did it, and I set something in motion with that. And so when I went to bed last night, I was like, I did a good job today because I lived in alignment by doing this thing that I was called to do. So, it's like, do I have any money in my bank account? No, but it doesn't matter because look at me. I'm beginning the flow. Yeah. So
love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still I'm still in this in between, but I have a very exciting job prospect that it's prospecting. The process is processing. Patience has been the theme for the last few months. So
that's a very big collective theme right now. So though too.
Yes. It's a theme of patience right now, and I'm really excited for the day that I get to share on the podcast that this job has come through, and it's gonna be good. But for now, I'm patient, and while I'm patient, I do what I can to feel like I'm living in alignment and feel like I'm doing all the scary things that I'm doing. And so then I wanted to talk, I feel like this gets into another thing that I want to talk about, which was about like trust being a choice. And this is like right now I'm in a course for channeling called Psychic Light with Jenny at Starseed Academy on Instagram. And I'm really pushing myself to up level in my connections with myself and connection with the universe, but a lot of it is around trust. And it's what this course is. Well, first off, it's obviously pushing me out of my comfort zone majorly in terms of my own psychic abilities and all these things, and really going to a point of feeling and experiencing that I maybe haven't let myself get to before. But it's forcing me to, because I feel like I was more in avoidant mode with it before, right? And it's forcing me to, this is this profound thought that it felt profound that I had a few weeks ago. It was like, okay, with my channeling, or however we want to call it, I know we kind of reframed it to accessing inner wisdom, which I have actually been thinking of too. I'm, even when I made that video, I'm like, all of this wisdom is within me. I even said our body is a map of the universe. Any information is already within us. But it was kind of confronting me with like, it was like, this is what I sat back and I like asked myself, like, what's it gonna take for me to trust myself, and for me to receive a vision, receive an imprint or anything, and fully trust it? And I was like, it's a choice. I had this realization. It's fully a choice. There's nothing that is, and this is really like a huge lesson around channeling, around accessing your innate gifts and everything. And I remember this was I had bought some other small masterclass around this from Lori Ladd a few years ago. And I remember one of the first things she said about channeling was, you have to choose to believe what you are seeing and feeling and hearing, whatever. You literally have to choose to believe it. No genie is going to pop out from the sky into your face and say, yeah, you're right. That is what it is. You literally have to just trust. And it was this grand realization around the fact that it's a choice. Like, it's not going to be, I didn't realize how much I was seeking for that process to be something different, like seeking for it to be some really validating thing or for something profound. But it's like, maybe it gets to that point. I don't know. But either way, when you're in this starting phase of things, right? Like, you're building your trust within yourself, trusting yourself, this doesn't even apply just to channeling, obviously. Trusting yourself is purely a choice. There's not going to be anything major that precedes it that's going to give you the safety net that's like, yes, you can trust. It's just a choice.
Yeah, the choice thing is huge just with like life in general, because you always have a choice. Like when people are like, oh, I have to do this, or I have to go to my job and I have to do this and I have to. It's like, no, you don't. You don't have to do anything. Like, you literally don't have to do anything. You're a sovereign being. Like, you always have the choice. So it's like when you're channeling or whatever, or even if you're wanting to connect to your inner wisdom or connect to your heart, you always have the choice to take inspired action following that, or you always have the choice to listen to what's coming through, or you always have the choice to I don't know, like take time to sit and connect with yourself and make space for that.
And right, so I had this like this profound realization about this, and about, I think what it more so was for me was that it made me realize that there was something that I felt like I was waiting for to be in order to be able to. It was like I was like, oh, I've been waiting to feel some type of way before I trust. I've been waiting, there was some missing invisible ingredient that I was waiting for, and I realized that that's not coming. It has to start by me just simply choosing.
Well, and I think with that too, it's like bridging the gap, because I've also had these realizations where you're just like, okay, so you're calling in all these things. You're calling in aligning to the highest version of yourself, your highest human, your highest timeline, your whatever. But there has to be some bridging of the gap to get that point. It's just like, if my highest version of myself is someone who has a daily practice and works out and, takes time for herself during the day and takes time to connect with nature and go out in nature, it's like, well, I have to embody that to become that version of myself, Like, it seems so simple, but I think, I don't know. It's just interesting how you put this, whatever you're calling in, up here, but then sometimes your choices are,
gap.
You know what I mean?
The gap between. Yes. And yeah, so this actually gets a little bit into, I want to explain a little bit I kind of got this mathy, sciencey vision that's very related to everything that we're talking about, that at its core has to do with how you get from like point A to point B. And like I said, it's purely a choice, but it all goes back to this gap. There is some technically between get here to there, there's some gap. So but what it makes me think of is the fact that the universe is a feedback loop, and it's like, so you have to take some step between this point, and that's what the trust is, and that's what the choice is. The trust is that gap, and you just have to take that choice. The reason that there's always going to be a gap is because this is where I kind of get this vision of almost like this grid, and you can break up the whole universe into infinitesimally small, like tiny grids. But because there's going to be an asymptotic line, like now I'm thinking of like a graph, and an asymptotic line approaching, meaning that you can get so infinitesimally small between these points, but there can always be some separation between these points, meaning that there's always going to have to be some choice of trust to get from this point to this point, because they're still separated in a way. And the other thing that this is it's almost like a feedback loop. Like the universe is a feedback loop. So meaning you have to take that step and then get the feedback, and then all you can do is get the feedback from that step, meaning like, I did my meditation this morning, or like I just chose to trust that I was talking to my spirit guides last night. Like, I had a conversation with my spirit guides last night. I choose to trust that was real. Do you think that
feedback loop, like with is the feedback loop karma?
So the way that I'm thinking about it in this context is the feedback loop is the way that the universe rearranges around that choice. So it's like you take a step and the world around you rearranges for it, right? And so that's the feedback loop, and that's the only thing that you're gonna get, or like, that sounds weird. That's the most that you can get from, like, that's your next step after you have taken that trust. So it's like, right, I trust that I spoke to my spirit guides last night. I took that step, the world moves around me now for that step. Now everything is different. I'm in a different timeline. I have different things coming to me because I trusted. The feedback loop, or just something. I just feel like there's something to just something to how when you actually do bridge that gap by making that choice and by trusting, that's when you open up a new pathway for yourself, right? That's when you move to the other point and the universe rearranges itself around you, and that's when you get the next step. That's when you get the next piece of advice that's when you get the next step from the universe. When you take action on something, which another way of phrasing that could be trusting, could be choosing to trust. When you make a choice to, you're another way of putting it is just you're shifting into a new timeline. But I just feel like there's something to do with this trial and error, this feedback loop, this you have to play around. Like another line that I had that came through about kind of similar to this whole idea is like the interaction video game theory. Like a video game is interactive. Like in order to play, like you have to make moves, like you have to do something to let the universe give you some effect of that and then keep going. So it's this trial and error concept in terms of trialing and erroring is choosing to trust and seeing what happens and seeing what the universe gives you next. And I think that kind of puts it the way that I wanted to say it.
Yeah. I like that.
Cool. Okay, so we'll elaborate on that maybe more at some point, but I feel like that kind of got in everything I wanted to say. So anything else you want to add before we wrap this episode up?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. If you've gotten to this point, thank you for listening. We really appreciate you. Please give us a follow on Instagram at the Orphic Podcast. My Instagram is at interdimensional.astrophysics.
At Mariposa Moonchild on Instagram. Please also on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a rate and review. We really appreciate it. It really helps us grow. So if you like us, help us.
Help us. And there's a full video version of all of these podcast episodes on YouTube. So find us on YouTube at the Orphic Podcast. Just subscribe. Even if you're more of a podcast listener, just give us a subscribe.
Yeah, really helps us out.
Look at our beautiful faces. So and
thanks for being here.
That's it. Thanks for being here.
Bye.
See you next time. Bye.